He has been on getting raked over the coals by Trump supporters for a comment he made to Will Witt, who's been on this program drinking his raw milk. We like Will. And DeSantis made a comment to him that I know that Trump supporters don't like it. I don't see it as untrue. I'm not sure that I'm taking it the same way they are, however. CNN got raked over the coals by DeSantis supporter Ken Cuccinelli. He runs the DeSantis super PAC for it. I'd love to get your take on it. So here's how we're going to do it. I'll play you the full soundbite because we here at the MK Show do not take the clips out of context. Doesn't mean they're not controversial in context. We'll let the viewers decide. But here is what DeSantis said that's leading to some trouble.
There'll be people who are huge Trump supporters, like in Congress, who have like incredibly liberal left-wing records that's really just atrocious, and yet they're viewed as by some of these folks as like really, really good. Then you have other people, like a Congressman Chip Roy, who's endorsed me, Congressman Thomas Massey. These guys have records of principle fighting the swamp that are second to none, and yet they will be attacked by some of these people and called rhinos. And ultimately, a movement can't be about the personality of one individual. The movement has got to be about what are you trying to achieve on behalf of the American people. And that's got to be based in principle. Because if you're not rooted in principle, if all we are is listless vessels that's just supposed to follow, whatever happens to come down the pike on Truth Social every morning, that's not going to be a durable movement.
Okay, so he said it in the context of ripping on some congressmen who he thinks are too, go with the wind, whatever Trump says is right, as opposed to principled conservatives. That's a way in which he said it, but it sounded too sweeping for many MAGA supporters. Then you get CNN in an interview with Cuccinelli, right, which you'll hear the way that they set it up and him calling them out in soundbite 3.
Governor DeSantis talked about Trump supporters. He used the words listless vessels.
But he wasn't talking about Trump supporters.
Hold on. I'm going to play it for everybody, and then you can go ahead. Let's listen.
A movement can't be about the personality of one individual. If all we are is listless vessels that's just supposed to follow, whatever happens to come down the pike on Truth Social every morning, that's not going to be a durable movement.
Everybody just saw there that there was a cut. You cut from the beginning of that quote to the listless vessels. You just did what the problem is.
I'll give you my take and then I'll listen to yours. I think that was a bullshit cut by CNN. I do think they're smart enough to make up their own minds on whether he was speaking about all MAGA, all Trump supporters, or whether he was speaking about it in the context of these congressmen who they decide are rhinos only because they dispute some of Trump's positions, right? Like he was saying in the setup, you've got these congressmen who they think are the true conservatives who will just do whatever Truth Social says. And then you've got others who are principled like Massey, who are great, like committed conservatives who will get called rhinos just because they don't follow Trump. And he was saying you can't build a movement on that. You can't just be a listless vessel who goes along with whatever you read on Truth Social in the morning. To me, it seemed more focused on the people who are following these congressmen, but I could be wrong. In any event, as a newswoman, I would never have set it up the way they did on CNN. I think Cuccinelli was right to call her out. CNN's always looking to make any Republican look the worst possible, whether it's DeSantis, Trump, or whomever. But I have seen the ire of MAGA online over the past few days in response to this clip. So having seen the full thing, how do you feel about it?
I think in the clip you played and the clip CNN played, I think has been fair to Ron DeSantis. I interpreted from the full clip you played, when you start saying, hey, we're not just listless vessels waiting for whatever comes down on Truth Social, what you're saying is, hey, we're not listless vessels just taking our commands from Donald Trump. And so I get why MAGA people are upset and saying, oh, this guy's arguing that we can't think for ourselves and we have this idolatry with Donald Trump. And some people do. But I think Ron DeSantis is forgetting he signed up for politics and to be a politician, and that when you want to provoke a movement to put America first, to drain the swamp, as a politician, sometimes you do have to morph yourself into a representation of that movement. And so it's going to be about more than just your principles and values. It's going to be how voters see you and connect you to the movement. And so there's just a deep belief among MAGA supporters that Trump represents the movement. He's the only one who's willing to take these bullets for representing them and their voice. I like Ron DeSantis. I like what he did in Florida, but he wants to detach himself a bit. And hey, I'm not the face of a movement. And it's like he wants to live in a safe space where Donald Trump is playing the thing very high risk. And I say this in all seriousness. And it's like, hey, look, politics is a blood sport. You know, presidents get assassinated, presidents get shot at, presidents have their reputation smeared in reprehensible ways. And so to me, what I hear from Ron DeSantis is he wants a little distance. He wants to play it a bit safer. He doesn't want to be seen as the face of a movement that is clearly scaring the establishment and has the entire criminal justice system and this lawfare that's being played against Donald Trump.
Let me ask you. Let me press you on that, because Ron DeSantis, he's many things, but like running to a safe space would not be on my list for him. I mean, he's, you know, his Parental Rights and Education Act, which he's taken so much flack for down in Florida. He signed a 6-week ban on abortions, which most of these other Republicans criticized him for. He's taken on, you know, fight after fight down in Florida against these sacred cows, like Disney's one of them. He doesn't seem like somebody who's not afraid to fight. COVID, he fought. He was aggressive. He was more aggressive than Trump was. So he's not a safe space guy. You have problems with DeSantis, but a safe space is not really apt in my view.
I do think he's not afraid to fight, but I don't think he wants to be in every fight, and I don't blame him. If I had 2 young kids and a young wife, there's a level of the fight that I might be more resistant to than an 80-year-old man who's, you know, most of his kids are grown. And look, whether it's true or not, Trump has created the impression that he's willing to pay whatever price there is for upsetting the establishment. And American history says the price for upsetting the establishment could cost you your life. And so there's a belief among Trump supporters, he's willing to pay that price. And I'm not sure if Ron DeSantis is, and that's not a critique of him. That's like, hey, man, this dude's a father and he takes being a father seriously. He's got young kids. And so when I look at RFK, this is what I like about RFK. I've had him on the show. I've seen him do interviews. RFK knows the price. Having lost his father, having lost his uncle, he knows the price that he could pay by taking on the military-industrial complex, taking on the CIA, the FBI, things. He knows what the price is, and he doesn't care. And so I respect that. And we can't get upset that there are other working-class MAGA supporters that are like, yeah, Ron's not all the way about this life. He's a great politician. He's done great things in Florida. He certainly is courageous in comparison to most politicians, but we're living in a very unique time where the state, again, you have a former president that's had 4 bogus indictments brought against him. The Democrats seem intent on putting him in jail, and it just feels like to MAGA supporters and to me. And again, I like Ron DeSantis, would have no problem if he was president of the United States, but I'm not sure if he's all in the way Trump is all in.
I get it now. I get it. Here's what I'll say. Oh, just FYI, DeSantis has three young kids. But I think what you're getting at, and I actually think what DeSantis was trying, though inartfully, to get at, is the difference between MAGA and conservatism, MAGA and the old Republican Party, right? Like I believe it upsets Ron DeSantis when you call him a rhino. He doesn't like that. He doesn't think that's true. He thinks he's a true Republican conservative. And I don't think he would say he's MAGA, but he is a conservative Republican. And so he doesn't like when somebody like Thomas Massie or somebody, like him, like DeSantis is dismissed as a rhino. And he's trying to say, like, these guys in Congress don't deserve that label. They're probably, in his mind, a proxy for him. That's what he's trying to say. I am not a rhino. And that's a bullshit criticism. But you're kind of like, okay, you're not a rhino, but you're not MAGA. And you shouldn't be running trying to convince us you're MAGA. We're not going to elect you for being MAGA. We can see you're not MAGA. I mean, is that basically it?
Yeah, and that is my standard. That's why I like Vivek. He's not afraid of the MAGA label. That's why I like Larry Elder. He's not afraid of the MAGA label. The Republican Party, just like the Democrat Party, there are those of us that believe they must die in order for America to be saved. The establishment.
There you go. This is what the Trump supporters believe, and this is why his support is so strong in the polls. Back to school is here, but sadly, there's one subject that is rarely discussed, and that's money. Millions of kids and teens eventually graduate completely unprepared for the financial decisions awaiting them. Schools are not teaching it. Imagine if you started saving and investing when you were 10. You could have been buying Apple stock at a few dollars per share. And it's not just investing. We need to actively teach our kids about earning and saving. So parents, listen up. We have a new sponsor called Busy Kid, a super easy to use app designed to empower your children with financial literacy and responsibility. Parents pay allowance to their kids for chores, and then the kids get to manage their money in different buckets: savings, spending, investing, and giving. Your kids even get their own debit card tied to their Busy Kid account. Do your kids a favor and provide the head start they will need. Busy Kid is offering a limited time special that's 20% off an annual subscription, so less than $4 a month. Go to busykid.com for more details, or just download the app and use our promo code MK for 20% off your order. busykid.com, promo code MK. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.